Welcome back to Salty Steel Garage. Today, I'm going to show you a little bit of my 1966 International 1110. Picked it up 2 months ago. Well, purchased it 2 months ago in Rock Springs. We were involved in a super bad accident. A motorhome ran a red light and smeared us up in Rock Springs, right about to get back on I-80. I've been dealing with Salvation Towing. The owner's name is Gabe. He's a super good dude. He's the one that handled the recovery, got the trucks off the road. Since it happened, we've actually become pretty good friends. We're talking about doing some combined content. He's starting a YouTube channel. I'll tag it. If you're ever up in Rock Springs, give him a shout. You know, if you need anything as far as towing, recovery, off-road or on-road related, he's the guy to call. Show you some of the truck now. So the truck has some killer patina, or had, you know. The grill was straight. The grill shroud wasn't absolutely munched like it is now. Somehow headlights survived the accident. The grill shroud did okay. The grill's munched. And then this passenger side fender took a beating in the wreck. But then when they were doing the recovery, the front pinion wrapped around the front trailer rail. So to get it off, they had to cut the trailer. And then they picked from the axle and ran their cables up the fender sides. That's kind of why it collapsed. You know, I'm not bummed about it. They had to do what they had to do, get it off the road, because we were right on main road, about to get back on I-80, headed towards Ogden. But bed, not keeping it. If anyone needs a bed for a 66 International, it is a short bed. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Pretty much give it away. Same goes for axles. The front axle doesn't look like it was bent in the accident. I can't confirm that. You know, that's up to whoever buys it to make that decision for themselves. But axle tubes don't look bent, forward, up or down, whatever. The steering box was sheared in half. Steering box got wrecked. Steering doesn't do anything anymore. It just free spools. But it's a pretty solid truck, and it's got some floorboard rust, nothing terrible. Held up good. You know, these old Internationals are solid trucks, so not shocked that it took the hit pretty well. But yeah, so now I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to pull this fender's dent and rework the fenders to fit 42s, or if I should just ditch the fenders, do a nice Highline tube fender that comes up into the hood and down to like a front grill, shroud, bumper combo. You just kind of ditch the factory grill or the factory fenders and grill. I don't know. Because I don't want to lose this patina, so I definitely don't want to do like body work. It'd almost be better just to pull fenders and make some sweet tube fenders to keep patina. Yeah, and then as far as engine's concerned, it's a V8. I don't know if it's a 304, a 345, or a 392. I need to look into it. It's a little single barrel setup now. I need to look into that, see how hard it's going to be converted over to a 4-barrel. I was considering doing like an aluminum block swap, whether that was going to be like a Toyota V6 or an LS. Couldn't decide. I have a Holley Sniper in my shop, so I'm kind of thinking I want to keep as much International as I can while making this hardcore. So I think I'm going to try to cam this, do a Holley Sniper, and maybe like a mild blow-through turbo setup. Nothing crazy, maybe like 4 PSI max, you know, just to wake it up. We'll see. It's going to be a sweet truck, so if you're all interested in the build, just follow, subscribe to Salty Steel Garage. Hey, it's tomorrow. I'm going to clean up the engine bay of this truck. I'm going to vacuum it out. I think I might pull this headache rack off and get the bed unbolted, because I know that's kind of first process. Is I'm going to start tearing this thing apart. I'm going to take off everything I know I don't need, including wiring, because I'm going to rewire the whole truck. I'm going to do it all myself. I'm going to do, what is it, aux beam? I think I'm going to use aux beam switch gauge for fuel pump, electric fan, ignition, lights, everything. So I'm gonna start tearing this apart. All that was holding this bed rack on was a couple little pieces of angle iron that went to a hole here. There's nothing holding it in those bed pockets, so I am sure that thing made some noise as it was bouncing around. Oh, truck's already gonna look so much better. Oh yeah, way better. I'm not keeping the bed anyway, but it still looks better having that headache rack off. So I just got this rear bumper pulled off. It was heavy as sin, so it's off now. It was only held on by 6 bolts, and they all broke loose good with just a 3/8 Hercules impact driver. So don't bash on those Harbor Freight tools till you use them. But I think I'm gonna start looking at getting this bed unbolted now. So I'm gonna have to get this transfer case and transmission out of the bed. It's just extra weight at this point. Get it out so I'm not crawling around in the bed when the bed's unbolted, hauling all that stuff out. Then I'll probably wait for some help on the weekend. I'll roll this truck out, pull this bed off, bring the truck back in, and get ready to start back halfing this thing. Looking at the frame, it honestly doesn't have like a terrible shape. If I wasn't shortening the wheelbase, I'd probably keep the frame and try to box it maybe, or not even, just add cross members. But the current wheelbase is 121 inches. I'm wanting to go more towards like a JK's wheelbase, a Jeep JK. So probably like 118, 117. Kind of wanting to go shorter than that because I really like the wheelbase of like a stretch TJ. You can stretch them to like 112 and they do really good. So I'm kind of maybe thinking about splitting the difference, going to like 114. Have longer than a stretch TJ, shorter than a 4-door JK. Make it nimble on the trail, not feel like a bus. I mean, I've wheeled 134-inch wheelbases and it's not a problem. It's just when you get into those V-notch trails, it's kind of, you got to do some maneuvering. The one benefit to having that long wheelbase though, like that 134, is for hill climbs. It's kind of why I want to go a little longer, so I feel nice and stable going up hills. But yeah, I think I've definitely made my decision. I think I'm going to bag these front fenders, straighten that grill shroud, bag the fenders, because these hoods on these internationals, sorry, really quick. Ooh, almost dropped you. They kind of already have like a dove nose going on. The front of the hood's narrower than the rear. The fender is what kept like a square edge going down. So if I bag those fenders, bring a tube up into hood, so trim hood, round tube, tie it into engine cage, grill shroud cage, tie it into the front bumper and winch. It'll kind of have like a little factory dove nose. Then I'll just, when I straighten out this shroud, take, I don't know, it looks like it'll end up being like 8 inches out of each side. So 16 inches total. Take out of it and bring those headlights in. So yeah, kind of have like a little cool dove nose with factory hood shape. So I think that's my current plan, because I don't really want to work this metal. I don't want to get rid of the patina. You know, if I work this and need to prime and paint, then hood will mismatch and doors will mismatch. And so I'm going to try to just bag these fenders. Okay, so I was just doing some layout as far as wheelbase is concerned, because I want a negative approach angle. So an approach angle, for example, is from front of what's going to hit the object, or like front of vehicle, to bottom of your, like bottom front of your tire. So most vehicles have like a positive approach angle. So your 90 degrees is be straight up from bumper or winch or whatever is your front, straight down to the ground, from the ground to the front of your tire, and that's the hypotenuse is the angle, and that is your approach angle. So I want a negative approach angle. So I want my tires to be in front, and then you would go back straight up would be your winch, whatever's hanging lower, and then forward to that. So I want to aim for like an 80 degree approach angle. So to do that, I will show you. I laid it on the ground. I'm going to suck my winch in pretty far into the grill. It's all going to be super tight. So I think that'll give me probably an inch or two in front of the winch to the front of my front tire. So that'll give me that negative approach angle. So then I measured back from here, my new center front axle, because this is kind of just, it is the law, you know. Front axle is where I want it. Rear axle can pretty much go wherever. So I measured back the 114 inches I want for my total wheelbase. And that is this mark. This is my current center of axle, so current wheelbase. The difference in here is 13 inches. So I'm gonna have to shorten where the center of the axle is by 13 inches. That puts me into this angle in the frame. So what I'm gonna have to do is build a new frame, which isn't a big deal. I'm just gonna cut it behind the cab, fish plate and French in some probably, I don't know, 2x6 eighth wall, because I want it to be lighter than factory frame. And so I don't want to do quarter wall. And eighth wall is going to be plenty strong, especially being box tube. And the frame's not going to be taking impact. It's just going to be structure. There's going to be a ton of triangulation that I do with cross members, so I'm not worried about using eighth wall. But, so yeah, I'm probably going to have to cut probably about right where in front of the spring perch is going to be where I cut and start my new angle in my frame. But yeah, I just kind of thought I'd give a little explanation about what approach and departure angles are. Oh, and with that too, so for my departure, obviously currently it sucks. You know, you have an extreme angle from bottom of tire to the back of bed. And then you'd have bumper behind that if you were just to like build this truck with its current wheelbase into a rock crawler. When I move this forward, I want to be able to use this truck for like utility purposes as well as like a hardcore crawler. I want to use it for some like off-road recovery. Like I'm not going to specialize in that, but if I want to rescue somebody, I should be able to. So what I'm thinking about doing is Chevy 63-inch leaf springs, because I want the reliability of a leaf spring in the rear. The fronts, I'm probably going to do air shocks. In the rear, I'll keep it leaf sprung. So I'll do a Chevy 63, but I will pretty much, the end of my bed, wherever it ends up, there's going to be a shackle hanger off the back of the frame. And then my leaf spring will actually be farther back than my rear bumper. So my leaf spring will be my departure angle limiting factor. But, you know, your leaf spring's only 2.5, 3 inches wide. It's going to be a pretty small target to hit. My departure angle will still be really good. Approach will be amazing. So, yeah, that's kind of my plan as far as axle placement and setup. And then I don't know if I've explained already, but I'm going to do a Super Duty Dana 60 05 plus front axle, a Sterling 10.5 rear. Probably going to do like a full-time spool in the front and then selectable in the rear. Help with rear digs. I'm going to do a handbrake. I'll have handbrakes, a handbrake for each of the rear tires. So that'll be extremely helpful for digs, because you're allowing that outside tire to roll, kind of even improves greater on the already awesome capabilities of front digs. It's going to have full hydro. I think I already explained that, but I'm just going to do a ram right on the front axle. I have a Dana 24 divorce transfer case that I'm going to put in this. That is a driver's side drop transfer case. They don't have the craziest low range, although this transmission is a T18. The T18 has a 6.31 to 1 first gear ratio, so it's a super deep. The axle's about 5/38, and we'll be on a 42 or a 43-inch tire, depending on brand. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with Mickey Thompson's. Probably the Baja Boss, not the Baja Pro. The Baja Pro's too luggy for the type of terrain I want to be on and for like mild street driving. So probably the Baja Boss in a sticky compound or a TSL. So that's kind of my current thoughts. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, keep following. Next episode, I'm probably gonna be pulling the bed.